Rebuilding when a relationship ends, and so what about the children? Before we begin, one thought that occurs to me as we examine the impact and response of children is a question. Were you a child whose parents separated? I was, and now, nearing 60 years of age, a major part of my journey has been to release myself from the parentified child position. Let me outline what the parentified child means. Children enter the world with countless needs. Until they're old enough to take care of themselves, children are supposed to be relatively free from the demands and concerns of the adult world. Ideally, a child's parents place their children's emotional, physical, and developmental needs before their own. But when a parent has not been parented well themselves, the combination of unaddressed needs and parental power often lead to an unfortunate consequence for their own child, a type of role reversal called parentification. Parentification is responsible for causing many mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, and workaholism in the adults who experienced it as children. There are two kinds of parentification. Emotional parentification. Here the child is expected to take care of and fulfill the emotional needs of the adult parent. Some examples of the emotional parentification are reassuring the parent that they will be all right when they're upset, shielding the parent from the emotional consequences of their actions, and adjusting behavior to suit the parent's emotional interests. And then we have instrumental parentification. The child is expected to take care of physical needs, such as housework, care of younger siblings, and management of parental affairs. The effects and consequences of parentification are profound. Parentified children must continually struggle to meet needs they are not able to fulfill, and consequently they develop deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. The pressure of having to constantly meet unrealistic demands instills a sense of hopelessness in the child, that they will never be able to handle the challenges life presents to them. Adults parentified as children experience the following things: a fear that they cannot adequately meet their own expectations and demands, poor self-esteem, a feeling of disconnection from their real self, feelings of incompetence, underestimation of their own intelligence, overestimation of the importance of others, shame, guilt, anxiety, and depression, feelings like they're still children who can't cope with being adults, taking on the role of caretaker, an addiction to work, and finally, codependency, acceptance of too much responsibility. Now we're going to go through the different modules, and the first is recovery, that we've been working on. And the first stage, you'll recall, is denial. This could not happen to me. There are three areas relating to children of separated parents that cause problems for those children. Number one is that children will continue to maintain some sort of fantasy images of their parents getting back together again, with much emotional investment in that dream. They have difficulty accepting the reality that their parents' relationship is over, and it may be a surprise to learn how strong this fantasy is within your children. You continually need to be present for them, with the reality that the relationship is over, so they do not continue to invest in this fantasy. However, children may use all kinds of manipulative behavior to try and get the two of you back together again, trying to have you spend time together, or trying to get you to talk to each other. Be aware of the large emotional investment your children have in not accepting the ending of your relationship, and in hoping that their parents will get back together again. Respond firmly but gently and persistently with your own decision that the relationship is over. Another second aspect with children is self-acceptance, and that's their belief that they did something wrong to cause your relationship to break up. The last time they disobeyed, when they did not go to bed, or clear up their food at mealtime, or do some household tasks you'd set them. They think that this led to their parents fighting and relationship ending. Try hard to help your children see that it is not their fault, and that the relationship breakdown is a grown-up problem. And finally, a third aspect has to do with the fear that now they have lost one parent, will they lose the other parent? They tend to be very clinging and dependent upon the parents, and they need a lot of reassurance at this time that you will not leave them. Parents do leave each other, but they do not leave their children. Stage 2. Loneliness to aloneness. As we explore in our one-to-one sessions, it is natural to feel extreme loneliness when your relationship ends, but healing can come from that pain if you listen to it. You can learn how to grow through loneliness to the stage of aloneness, where you feel comfortable being by yourself. Naturally, children suffer loneliness too after their parents separate. They have the same kind of empty feelings inside them that their parents are feeling. They have the same need to be with others to fill up that loneliness, but naturally, they also fear being close to others. Children may feel that they are the only child in the school whose parents have separated. The parents of other children may also judge your child by what you have done. Daily living habits are altered, just as those of the parents are. Instead of coming home and having two parents to spend time with, to play, to put them to bed, there is only one parent, and the children feel the loneliness of the new house when one or both parents move. At the home of the non-custodial parent, there may not be familiar toys or books to play with. Often the other parent's home is not set up for children, and may be located in a new neighborhood away from the familiar friends and faces. The children need to work through their loneliness just as the parents have to, in order to develop their own healthy feelings of aloneness. Children need to learn that they have the resources within themselves to spend time alone without having to have another person around. Many children may have been lonely before the ending of their parents' relationship, because the interaction within the family did not help them to feel that they belonged. When the relationship ends, it tends to increase this feeling of not belonging or not being okay. However, perhaps the crisis itself can be used to help to deal directly with such a problem, and it is a special time for parents to help the children feel that they belong, that they are loved, and that they are an important part of this new family, whether it be a single-parent family or a two-parent family with the parents living apart. However, as with all of the rebuilding stages, when the parents are dealing with their own loneliness, it is very, very difficult for them to have enough emotional time and energy left to devote to their children's needs. It may be necessary, as I mentioned in our work together, for parents to work through their own rebuilding stages first, and then they will be better able to help their children. Stage 3. Guilt versus rejection. As we have explored in our one-to-one sessions, in the ending of your relationship, dumpers end the relationship, while dumpees have it ended for them. The adjustment process differs, since dumpers feel more guilt and dumpees feel more rejection. Dumpers start their adjustment while still in the relationship, but dumpees start adjusting later. For the mutuals, people who decide jointly to end the relationship, the adjustment process is somewhat easier. Often the children are very angry at the parent who decided to leave, and they have a great deal of difficulty maintaining a relationship with that person. They blame the breakup on the dumper, so they take out their pain and frustration on that person, because they probably fail to see not that much difference between the dumper and the dumpee, since both of them contributed to the ending of the relationship, but obviously in different ways. Almost always the children could be looked upon as dumpies, in that they had little to do with the decision, and therefore feel the same frustration and anger that dumpies do. Children, however, are not like dumpies in the sense that they often recognize that the relationship is ending before the parents do.